like hip hop?
And what does hip hop have to do with you being a wigger?
Nothing. I'm just asking you to come on my podcast.
But you brought up a random tidbit about yourself, and I'm just trying to understand.
Random racist term, and your questioning is correct. But would
Right.
you ever come on the podcast? Can you, if you look it up?
But I'm trying to understand why you specify that you're a wigger.
Because I'm a fan of Black culture
Okay.
in
What's
America.
what are you a fan of?
I mean, I relate to it as a Russian person.
Right. Well, Russian culture is black culture because the person who created your language it was Pushkin, and he was black.
It's
So
so that's true. That's true.
right.
Yes.
So did that make you a wigger in Russia?
Well, I never lived in Russia for
Oh, okay.
because I was like an immigrant. I mean, I lived there for 5 years, but I don't have a memory of it.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Uh,
so drunk right now, but I'm just asking if you would ever consider coming on the
I,
podcast.
you got to sell it to me. See, I don't know. I don't know you, ma'am. I'm trying to get to know who you are. Now, all I know from right now, you're Russian, and you said that you're a wigger, and you and you like black. I don't know anything about you, ma'am. I'm trying to understand who you are, and it's a possibility. I'm
Okay.
open. I'm open to go on different platforms.
Well, we reviewed your buck breaking documentary and we really loved it and what you
Right
were all about.
about your community. Right, right. Your community is and the long history of sexual exploitation of your community.
Yes, exactly.
Right. So are you currently wiggering now? Do you have a black male that you're having relations with, ma'am?
I can't answer that.
Oh yeah, yeah. You'll lose credibility within the white supremacist ranks.
Well, no, 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 no. It's not about that. I just don't speak upon my personal life.
Well, you just said you're a wigger. That's pretty personal, right?
Mm. Okay, wait. What's the road you're leading down upon?
No, I'm just asking questions. I'm listening to you, ma'am. I mean,
Well, okay. If I'm being honest with you right now, if I can be fully transparent,
uh-huh.
a lot of white people on the internet think I'm a racist
Why do
against black people,
why
but
do they
I'm
think that?
actually,
Why do they think that?
well, I don't know.
Well, they get it from somewhere. You must have done something.
Well, no, I haven't said anything against black people. I think that they're leftists and they feel guilty because they're secretly racist themselves.
Oh, and they project their racism onto you.
Yes, exactly.
Interesting. So how do you feel about black people? Other than you said you like our culture, but if people perceive you as being a racist,
Well,
then-
I'm a Russian immigrant to America, so I find African American culture to be like inspirational and relatable because in Russia we have a lot of the same problems and adversities.
okay. Like what kind of adversities do you have back home?
Well, like, do you really want to get into this?
Yeah, yeah, we're talking. We're talking. And do you speak Russian? Did your family teach you any Russian?
Да, я очень спокойно и хорошо говорю по-русски, но меня не доверяют.
Right. And I know the white supremacist movement is pretty heavy up there in Russia too. Is your family connected to any of that?
No, not at all, because my dad's an Armenian, so he's like an ethnic minority.
The Russian season.
Hmm.
And a lot of foundational black Americans, like myself and others,
What
we
does foundational Black American mean? Like ancestors of slaves?
right, right. We're
Okay.
not only the ancestors, descendants of slaves, but
Descendants. Sorry, descendants. I'm so drunk.
Mhm. And the foundation of the United States. We're the people who
Hmm.
actually the non-immigrants.
Like who built the country? Yes.
Right, right. So that's the foundational Black American non-immigrant groups. How do you feel about us getting reparations from the United States government?
That's a good question. I have to
Mhm.
think about that
Really?
because I
Why do
can,
you think about
well,
that?
because I can imagine a lot of scenarios where that could be maneuvered to benefit people who don't deserve it.
Well, then any situation can be maneuvered so that people don't deserve it.
How do you feel about reparations?
I feel that we should get checks immediately.
Well, but okay, here's the question for you. How would that work realistically? Like how would you determine who was black enough to receive the reparations?
Lineage based. Like
Okay.
that's why I said foundational Black American, the people who can trace their lineages to the slave fields of the United States to the 1870 census forms. That's the easiest.
Okay.
So it's already figured out, right?
Um, yeah, you're making a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, again, why do people think that you are a white supremacist?
I mean, I'm really not.
But why do they assume you are?
Um, that's a good question. I think probably because they're like sheltered and coddled and they think that the things I say are racist when
Like
they're
what? Like what?
well, like for instance, recently I made a tweet about like quote tweeting someone about how like maybe one of the African migrants coming to the United States could be the next Bach. And a lot of people on the left interpreted it as sarcasm, where I like really didn't mean it that way.
Mm. How did you mean it?
Well, it's an open ended question. Maybe there's like in most people in any population are kind of just ordinary and whatever, but in any population, anybody can be an outlier, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so that was kind of like a trick question to provoke leftists into airing their own racism.
Oh, so you were just being manipulative.
Yes, as
Oh,
a female should be.
okay. So, have you been back to Russia to help your family out there in Russia?
Um, what do you mean help my family out in Russia?
Right, your family. You're Russian. You have family there. I notice a lot of people. A lot of you guys come from Europe, and you kind of leave your families out there. And you don't really
Well,
do
I
anything
didn't
to help
leave
them.
my family. My dad moved here for economic opportunities.
I understand that. I understand that, but you
I
guys
was merely a child.
right, but you still have family in Russia. You just cut
Yes,
them
but
off,
they're financially better off than me.
but you clearly don't have any correspondence with them. Why is that?
What do you mean I don't have any correspondence to them? I talk to my cousin regularly. Well, we don't have starving family members back home. They're like, I'm in regular contact with them. They get $5 lattes just like me.
Well, the thing is, they can't be doing that much better because your family had to flee for economic opportunities. Was which is that's what you said. So yeah,
Well, Tariq, hold on. That was at the time when the Soviet Union had just fallen and the Berlin Wall fell. I'm so drunk. And
mm-hmm,
people didn't know what was what, but there was a moment of privatization where a lot of people made a lot of money and got off pretty well.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But yeah, they fled though. Yeah, they had to flee and come on over here,
Well,
and
some people did.
yeah, they had to flee, and it's
You seem very suspicious of me.
no, I don't, ma'am. I just suspect that I just suspect that you could be a white supremacist, but that's nothing new. I'm
I'm
not.
literally not.
I mean, you could be, So you're not saying anything that's out of the
I could be.
ordinary.
You're right. You're right. You're right. I could be.
But yeah, I mean, when somebody calls up and says, "Hey, I'm a wigger," yeah, I'm pretty suspecting that they could be a white supremacist when they say that, which
That
I'm not.
was the You're right. That was the wrong opener.
No, no, it was an honest opener. You let me know who you were
Hmm.
right away, so I'm already knowing, which is I'm not surprised. All right,
Okay, go on.
there you go.
Okay, but hold on. You're having this conversation way too we're going on this tangent way too long. I'm sure other people want to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this. If I emailed you, would you consider coming on the podcast?
I have to know more about your podcast because I'm assuming it's going to be one of these alt right, low key, covert white supremacist spaces.
It
Where
is okay. So
I'm,
I'll be
I'm assuming.
fully okay. Hold on. I'll be fully transparent with you. We unfairly got billed as a leftist podcast early on, and now are unfairly billed as an alt right podcast, but we're really not about that. You can listen to our episodes with our guests. We are very open minded and charitable toward them, and we don't try to ambush or attack anyone.
But ma'am, this is the thing with a lot of you suspected white supremacists. Many of you think that you
I'm not a
suspected.
suspected white supremacist. I'm a stupid bitch on Twitter who likes what you're about,
Right. And
dude.
hey, I don't know if you are or not. I can only suspect that you could be. Not saying that you are. But the thing is, many of you are not as clever as you think you are, because you can
I
kind
don't
of
think I'm that clever. I'm
we can
incredibly
kind of
retarded and
like,
drunk.
I mean, the first 2 minutes I can tell, okay, this is some 4chan alt right stuff
No, 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 no.
immediately.
I have no. Hold on, dude. I have nothing to do with 4chan. I've never heard of that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, the same vein. Ma'am, it's already there. I can smell it a mile away.
You're being so suspicious and speculative.
Not be a ma'am. I can literally smell the alt right a mile away. I can smell it through the.
I'm not alt right at
I,
all.
I can smell the alt right leanings. All right, I can smell it there, ma'am. And how old are you? You're in your 30s, right?
How did you know?
Because a lot of you suspected white supremacists, women, you start getting on that kick around 31, 32.
And
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, y'all start getting on that thing around 30, 32, because that's when y'all kind of hit the wall and them looks start.
No, no, I hit the wall when I was 16. Don't worry
Oh,
about that.
oh, okay, the wall was hit. Okay. A lot of
Yeah,
y'all hit.
yeah, yeah. The wall in Soviet Russia, the wall hits you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, no, there's some cute Russian white women. No, no, no. I'll give credit where credit is due. I've seen some, but I've seen some of y'all looking like, baby pit bulls. But a lot of
We look like cottage cheese stuffed in stockings.
but yeah, you're at that age where you're about to you kind of hit the wall, and now you need some white supremacy to depend on. So then you become a foot soldier for white supremacy. So I can see it a mile away. But let me know about your podcast. Let me see what you guys are about. What platform are you on?
Patreon.
Patreon. That okay. So yeah, that's more alt right stuff, because a lot of times y'all can't get
If
other.
Patreon is not Gumroad, it's like the
Yeah,
normal
yeah,
mainstream platform.
a lot of you can't get on other platforms, so you guys go through Gab or one of these other things, whatever.
I've
Okay,
never heard of Gab.
yeah, yep. Okay, so we'll chop it up. All right, you have a good one, dear.
Well,
Okay.
thank you, Tariq. Have a good
Yeah, y'all, and I had her on just to let y'all see these are the kind of people y'all work with. All right, who try to be slick and clever. They think that they're slick. She exposed herself the minute she got on, she exposed herself as a suspected white supremacist, and then tried to play the role and try to be slick. And you're not fooling anybody. So I'm just showing black folks not to fall for that, because a lot of your coworkers are like that very passive aggressive type of suspected white supremacist. Okay, Paxton, are you ready to get on, sir? Mr. Paxton.